Hello, guys. We're back again. Welcome to Avoid TV live stream. My name is Ekia Ofoy. If this is your first time here, welcome. But if you have been coming here also, I really appreciate you coming in today. Please share the live video when you come in. The moment you drop, just share. All right. Let me know where you're watching from. It is 12:37 p.m. in Texas. The sun is out on outside, right? It's not hot, but it's not cold. It's kind of like there and there, right? Honey hot. But how are you guys doing? All right. If you see me wearing this hat, somebody told me that, sister, I like when you wear these hats. I was like, oh, say no more. I'm going to get more, right? So it's like all of my old hats that are there. I'm gonna be wearing them. All right. So if it bothers anybody, go and find that person and tell them why you tell her that this hat's the beautiful hair. That's why I have it on. But guys, how are you doing? Let me know where you're watching from. I said I was going to tell you about interview experience. And this interview experience has been posted on this page. But sometimes people want somebody to read, right? You want to hear it in my voice. That is why I'm here today. We're going to go through the interview experience so that you guys will understand what happened, right? This particular interview was a little bit interesting. That's why I picked it. All right. Yes, I'm in Texas. I'm in Texas. If you're in Texas and you don't have hats, then where are you? You are not in Texas proper. You are in Oklahoma or Arizona or somewhere. If you're in Texas, you better have a hat, right? But guys, welcome to the live video. Let me know where you're watching from. I really appreciate you coming here. Hi, Moore. You're watching from the Gambia. Thank you for joining in today. Hi, Letitia. How are you? Guys, how are you doing? Morton, you are watching from Abu Dhabi. How are you? Hi, Echampon Patrick. You're watching from Tema, Ghana. How are you? Zina, you're watching from Liberia. How are you? How is everyone doing, guys? How are y'all doing? Please share the live video so that your country people will follow this platform. You see, when I show the top countries that they represent, if your country know they be the top, you see, me, it's Facebook that they do more. It's not me that they do the calculation. Facebook does the calculation. They showed that those are the top nationalities that are interacting on this page that are following. So please, represent your country now. Don't let your country chop last. But guys, thank you so much. Hi, David, welcome back again. All of you guys who were here in the morning, welcome back again. Okay, so we are going to go straight into the interview experience because I have only 20 minutes for this live video. Alfred, you're watching from Oyarifa, Ghana. Letitia, you're watching from Ghana. Thanks for joining in. So guys, this interview experience is from Bahrain. The person is an African, but they are living in Bahrain. Okay, they are in Bahrain. Hi, Ahmed. You're watching from UAE. Thanks for joining in. You see, sometimes the flag of UAE and the flag of what other country? I think UAE and is it Palestine? Is it Palestine? They look similar. Sometimes I kind of confuse myself. Joy, you're watching from India. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you for joining in. Solomon, you're watching from Ghana. Marville, or is it Marvell? From Cameroon. Thank you for joining in. Odelia, thanks for joining in from Ghana. Maxwell from Tema, Ghana. Alfred from Syria, thanks for joining in. Humble, you're watching from India. Thank you for joining in. Jude, you're watching from East Legon. Thanks for joining in. Odelia, Ghana, thanks for joining in. All right. So this interview experience is from Bahrain. It's an African who was living in Bahrain. I'm saying was because I think they might be coming to America soon, or either I think they might be here or they already here. But let's go on it. So this interview experience is from last month, just last month. One of our brothers who won the lotto, they said they submitted their entry on November 8th, 2021, right? And then they checked their results on May 8th, 2022. Remember last year, the winners were announced on May 7th. So the person checked on the next day, on Sunday, and they realized that the wife was the winner. The wife was the winner. The person submitted their DS260 on May 12th. They won the lotto on May 8th. 4 days later, they have submitted everything. So they received interview appointment letter on August 12th. August 12th, and they were scheduled for October 19th. These people would have arrived here a long time, but this is what happened. At the time, the principal applicant was pregnant, and she was nearing 9 months to deliver, right? So this person who wrote this experience, his wife was pregnant, 9 months pregnant, and the delivery time was scheduled for October 15th. Meanwhile, they got the interview date for October 19th. So the man was like, my wife is, she's going to have a baby on the 15th. 4 days after delivery, to go for interview, I no go let my wife go through that. So I remember when this guy asked about it, I told him, can your wife manage and go? Right? You see me, there's the thing, a lot of people are struggling to get interview. And if I get interview, I no carry baby before. So maybe I'm just speaking anyhow. But with me having no experience in how painful delivery is, I will say that if I get interview October 15th, October 19th, and 15th is my interview, I will go for my interview, right? This is me talking anyhow. But I know some people, their delivery is not simple for, they might go to C-section. And so the man was worried that he wants to reschedule the appointment. And many of us were scared for him. And I was like, you know what? Contact the embassy. Let them know the situation. And let's see what they will say about it. So he said when they went during the medical checkup, he said the baby was not moving. So they scheduled for C-section, right? Cesarean section. And so and that was October 8th. So he wrote to the embassy asking them to reschedule the interview appointment because the wife was going to have a baby on the 15th. And then their interview is 4 days after. And this was going to be operation. In Ghana, we call it operation. So if my wife is going to go through C-section or operation and 4 days later, this thing no go work. So he sent the email to the embassy, and the embassy was like, oh, we understand. He sent evidence to show the embassy that this is what our doctors gave us. This is what they are saying. Can you reschedule our interview for us? And the embassy approved it. No wahala, because they understand the situation. But if you want to reschedule because of, work, because of funeral, please, that one now, all right? Unless, if it's very, very close to home, all right? I'm not saying that your funeral might not be important. If it's very close to home, right? Maybe your mother, your father, your wife, your husband, your child, something. Those ones are close to. But your friend's brother's funeral, please don't reschedule your interview for that. They will understand, okay? That's all that I'm saying. So he said he wrote back to the embassy so the embassy granted the request. They canceled the interview and told him that he should let them know when everything is done and they are ready for another interview. So the guy emailed the embassy on December 30th. So December 30th, the wife had the surgery on the 15th. December 30th, he sent an email to the embassy, and then the embassy gave him a new appointment for February 16th. But this is where they ran into problems. They have delivered a baby. The baby also needs passport. They have delivered a baby. The baby also needs passport to travel. My people, when you have a new baby, your baby also needs passport to travel. If you have your baby in the plane, that one is another matter. If you have your baby, you're pregnant, nobody go bother you to get a passport for an unborn baby. But the moment the baby comes out of the body, the baby needs a passport. So they got their medicals done on January 26th. The cost was 530. 530 for 2 people. So he did the medicals for himself and his wife. No medicals for the baby, of course. The hospital will determine whether the baby should get medicals. But I think they didn't do any medicals for the baby because they don't have a passport for the baby. So they had already planned that if we can't get passport for the baby, then definitely we are going to have to leave the baby. My people, this is why I said it's an interesting interview. They had to leave their baby. But let's go on. We will get there. So on February 16, the appointment was 1:30. But because of the way they were nervous and stuff, they got there at 8 a.m. They went through security and everything. And when they entered, they told them that they should come back at 1:20. So they told them to, they have entered the embassy. They told them come back at 1:20 because your appointment is 1:30 and you are there at 8 a.m. in the morning. So they told them, please, oh yeah, now we know you are excited and you don't want anything to go wrong. But 8 o'clock for appointment, 1 o'clock, go, come back later. So that's what they told him. So they just went to they said their house was like 10 minutes away from the embassy. So they went home, continued praying. They continued praying. That means they have been praying before. So don't wait until the day of your interview now you go pray. Pray before the time comes. All right. So at 1:30 they went there. They were able to get inside, and they were the first DV applicants. Whilst there were 5 others were joined them later, right? So I guess they were first in line. They said there was 1 couple and then there were 3 single applicants. So he said the wife's documents were collected. So the things that were collected were birth certificate, passport, a copy, the marriage certificate, and a copy of that, right? So the documents that were collected were DS-260 confirmation pages, passport and a copy, WASI certificate, degree and the university transcript. My people, the university transcript, if you are currently in the university. So this guy, his wife, they were still in school, okay? I think they might be doing their master's degree or PhD. So she had a degree for the first degree, right? The bachelor's degree. And then she brought the WASI. Those of you who have been asking, if I have a university degree, do I need to bring my secondary school certificate? Yes. You see these people brought them now. When you read people's interview experience, you're supposed to mimic those people. If they have done this and it worked for them, why do you want to do something different, right? They brought their marriage certificate, and then they brought police certificate. They had 2 police certificates for the woman, right? So the police certificates for both of them, they had police certificates from 2 countries, Ghana and Bahrain. Remember, they live in Bahrain, but they are Ghanaians. So they had to get police certificate, 1 for the woman, 1 for the man from Ghana. And then they need to get police certificate, 1 for the woman, 1 for the man from Bahrain. Okay? So it's not just the main applicant. The derivative, you too, you for bring your police certificate. You too, you for bring your passport. Okay? Then they had the affidavit of change of name. So he said his wife, since they got married, the wife has taken his name. So he brought the affidavit of change of name evidence. My people, this is important, especially those of you who have changed your name. If your name has changed, my people, understand the word change. It means you have added something to the name or you have taken something from the name. If the spelling is different, it is change. If the spelling that is on your original documents, if it's different from the name on another document, the spelling on another document, it still change. You need to fix that. Either you get them to do the document again, or you need to do affidavit of change of name, right? So you can accept that. And then they added gazette. If you are Ghanaian, when you change your name, you must do a gazette. Gazette is where you publish it in the newspaper, and you must cut the newspaper publication. That is how it's done in Ghana. The newspaper. So you are going to publish that you, Ekia Ofoy, the lady who used to be called Ekia Ofoy, she's no longer called Ekia Ofoy. She's now called Ekia Mansa. All her old documents bearing the old name, Ekia Ofoy, they are still valid for her. It will be published on the newspaper. Then you will cut that portion of the newspaper. You need to keep that. You need to buy that newspaper and get that part too. All right, that's how it works in Ghana. So they paid their visa fee $660. Remember, it is 2 people. Remember, they had already made their mind that the baby is not going to go with them. And I will talk more about that in a little bit. So he said they paid the money all while he was holding the baby. He was the one holding the baby, and then, you know, the wife was doing the stuff. So 10 minutes later, they were, the wife's name was called to come to counter 4, and he joined her. He went with her. So they exchanged greetings, good afternoon. And then the wife responded and said, have you married before? And then the woman answered, all right. Remember, I told you when they ask you, have you married before? You can say yes, and then say that this is my husband. This is my only marriage. Or you can say no, this is my only marriage, okay? Because sometimes the question may seem a little bit ambiguous, right? Have you married before? Yeah, but this is one that I'm inside, right? So sometimes when you say, have you been married before? It could mean that marriage that is no longer in existence, or you have never been married before, but you are bringing a husband, right? So for me, to avoid any complication, whatever the answer is, when you say it and you have a husband right there with you, you have a wife right there with you, reference that marriage, right? Reference that marriage. If you have been married before, let's say you have been divorced before, you can say that, yes, this is my second marriage. Yes, this man is my second husband, my third marriage, my fourth marriage. If you are a widow, this is my second marriage. If you are a widower, this is my third marriage. Like, so that there is no ambiguous thing going on. There is no confusion, all right? And I say, where will you be staying? Where will you be staying? Remember, when you win the Greek Lotto, you need to arrange for where you will stay. So where will you be staying? Basically, give them the city and the state. The city and the state. I'll be living in Atlanta, Georgia. I'll be living in Columbus, Ohio. I'll be living in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I'll be living in Kansas, Topeka. I'll be living in Seattle, Washington. I'll be living in Vermont, Montpelier, Vermont, right? Just give them the city and then the state. And then they said, who is your host? Who is your host? So know that those of you who are coming to stay with some people, right? If you get your own accommodation, let's say you have gone to Zillow, you have gone to apartment.com, found your own somebody who is renting their home, and then you have arranged that, please, I want to rent your home. When I get my visa, I'll be coming to stay there. Please, can I pay you money so that you hold this house for me? You, that person, when you go for interview and they ask you who is your host, you can say that I rented my own place, right? But if you're coming to stay with somebody, let's say your auntie day here, your auntie is the one who will be receiving you. Your friend's brother will be the one receiving you. Whoever is going to receive you, that person is your host. But if you are renting, your landlord is not your host. Your landlady will be your host. You can just say, I rented the place. That's it. No wahala. about that. Why is the passport for the child? Remember, these people, when they went, they didn't have passport for their baby. The time that they went for interview, so they went for the interview on February 16th, and the baby was born on October 15th. So the baby was about 3 months old, right? So October, November, December, January. Oh, yes, about 4 months old. And so this guy explained that it was difficult for them to get Ghana passport, right? So especially, you know, foreigners who are living in other countries. So he said that where they live, there's no Ghana mission there. That is what he said. I think he said there's no Ghana mission, or the Ghana mission there is very far away. So it was going to be difficult or almost impossible for them to get Ghana passport for their baby. Or they will have to come back to Ghana and apply for Ghanaian passport for the child. Remember, a lot of our brothers and sisters who go outside to work, some of the countries that you are in, because you have a child there, doesn't mean that they will give you their passport. You must still get the passport from your home country. So let's say you are a Kenyan, you are living in UAE, and your wife is pregnant. By the time you go for an interview, your wife has delivered the baby. You will not get UAE passport. You must get Kenyan passport for the baby. So this is where, you know, those of you who find yourself in that situation, you must make the arrangement, or you may have to leave the baby. So they returned their passport to them and said, go back. So the consular returned their passport to them and told them, go back and make a passport for the baby and come back here. So the guy talked to the consular, explained the situation, why they were not able to, and so the consular asked, did you apply separate as couples? And then they said yes. Then the consular said, I don't think that's how it is done. Well, I'm not familiar with DV. Let me check and see. Okay, so the consular collected their passport again and said, you will hear from me after 2 weeks. Go and think about the baby's case. Okay, now this is the thing. This is the reason why I tell you that when you answer questions, make sure that you are explaining yourself. The consular asked, did you apply separate as couples? And then the guy said yes. The guy has confused the consular. So the consular was like, I don't think that is how it is done. Well, I'm not familiar with DV, so I will check the case and see. And so they put them in AP. This is what the person should have said. This guy, they apply separately. He applied with his wife on one application, and the wife also applied with him on one application. So they applied separate as couples. But the way he answered to the CEO's question, the CEO was thinking that he was married already, but then applied as a single man. That is why sometimes when you answer your question, you must explain, add context. If you don't add context, people will interpret it the way they think it is. So it's because of the way he answered the question. That's why they put them in AP. He said, did you apply separate as couples? And he said, yes. Yes, he should have explained. Yes, my wife applied separately with me as I was attached to her application. And then me too, I qualify. So I also apply and I attach her to it. The guy didn't say that. So the consular, who is a new consular, thought that, if what I'm thinking is how you did it, then you may not qualify. So imagine if this consular didn't say she was going to check about the case, this guy would have caused problem for themselves too. If the consular didn't say, you know what, let me go and check. If the consular didn't check, you know, some people might not check. You might not lucky and meet a consular who will go and check. If you meet a consular that they ask you, did you apply separate as couple, and you say yes, he said, I'm sorry, you don't qualify. What you go do? So please, when they ask you questions and you know the answer, you know you did everything the correct way, please don't just do the yes or no unless the question was, the question doesn't require any extra information. This brother could have told the consular that, hey, I applied with my wife on a separate application and she also applied with me on a separate application. That would have been it. The consular would have seen that, oh, okay, that's fine. But because of the answer, they gave yes. But you don't know what the consular is implying in their mind when they ask you that question. There are some questions that may have double answer. In that situation, whether you give yes or no, make sure that you add detail to it so that the person does not jump into conclusion what they think the yes is. Okay? Maybe yes that you're saying, your yes and what they think the yes is might be meaning something else. Okay? So that's why I always tell you, add context. Don't go and stand there and when you have all the answers in you, and then when they ask you something, you say yes, and then instead of you adding some small details for the person to understand what you're trying to say, you keep quiet and then they delay you. So this would have been a very expensive mistake for this brother. But he was lucky that the consular decided to check. Okay? So the consular took their documents and said, you will hear from me after 2 weeks. My people, those of you who are waiting for your interview, you don't want to go and play these tricks in September. You don't want to go and play these games of you not giving context to your answers. You don't want to play these games on September. Because September, the consular may not, this consular told him 2 weeks. And this embassy, remember he said there were 5 people going for the interview that day. So that means this embassy is not even busy. Try that trick in Accra. Try that in Liberia, where there are several people waiting for interview. Try that in Nairobi, where there are many people waiting for interview. You will not hear back from them in 2 weeks. Kenya, they have placed somebody in AP for almost 5 months. So this guy, he was lucky. God heard his prayers. 2 weeks, and then the consular gets back to you that quick. That embassy is not busy. Try that in Accra. They will put your case somewhere else. So please, don't put yourself in such a situation where now you have to worry. You go home and worry more, right? So he said, we came home and started to check the status. It was ready. Still showing ready. After 7 days, 7 days, since the interview, it was still showing ready. He said, anxiety. This was the biggest weight in my life. All because of the answer you gave. You said yes. You could have added something to it. You could have explained more. But because you said yes, you see the anxiety you brought on yourself. 2 weeks of agony. You don't know where the matter will go. And let me tell you, the moment when you get your interview, you already feel like you are in America. So even your mind, you have already arranged, pack your bags in your mind if you have not physically done so. So imagine when you have in your mind, pack your things, your bag is ready to go to America. In your mind though. And then now you are not sure. Now you are not sure because of something. That anxiety is more than standing at the labor ward. Okay? That anxiety is more than standing at the labor ward to see what will happen. My people, let's make sure that we don't create unnecessary pressure for ourselves. All right? So he said, okay, then I wrote a letter to the embassy about our decision concerning not traveling with the baby now. After 11 days, still ready. So he wrote a letter to the embassy explaining why the baby. He wanted to explain more because now he's panicking. That is why he's sending emails to the embassy when the embassy told him that, oh yeah, wait, you hear from us. So on the 12th day, he changed to AP, and then finally, after AP, it turned to issue. It turned to issued. He said, they sent me an email to come and collect the visa. And then he said, on this note, I thank God for not failing us. Second, Madam Ofoy for creating this wonderful platform and her advice. I got to learn so much from the wonderful platform. Please don't forget to pray. God's grace is so important in this journey. We fasted in the whole of February. Brother, your wife just had a baby. You are letting it. But you see, when the thing they pressure you, you will fast. You will fast. This lady just had a baby. She doesn't have to be fasting. She should be eating proper fufu and soup. But because of this, he said, I had just entered into March with fasting and our visa got issued. May the God that did it for me and my family also locate you and your second notification letter, which is the interview letter, and visa in Jesus' mighty name. All right. Congratulations to our brother. So that is the end of the interview experience. But my people, those of you who joined just in, when this live video is done, it will be posted on this page so that you can go over and watch the things that I spoke about in the beginning. This brother made a big mistake in his answers when they asked him that, did you apply separate as couples? He said yes. He should have explained. If you apply with your wife and then your wife, you also did another separate application, you added your wife, he should have explained that. He would have avoided this AP. He would have received his visa last year. So my people, when I tell you that we need to learn from others' mistakes so that we don't go through those problems, right? The other thing too was the child. When they couldn't get passport for the baby, and then the consul said you should go and get the passport, and then he should have explained the effort they have put in to get the passport for the baby. He should have explained the effort that they have put in place to get the passport, but it's unsuccessful. You know, sometimes when you go for the interview and there's something you were not able to get, you need to be able to tell them that this is what I did. I did this and this and that, but I still couldn't get it. That is understandable. But if you go there without not trying, that means you are not serious, okay? And if you are not serious, they will treat you as somebody who is not serious, all right? So those of you who are pregnant, you are in other countries, and your delivery might get around somewhere when you're going for your interview. I don't know whether you go link up back home for somebody to start working on your baby's passport. You take the picture of the baby and start, link up with people to get the baby's passport done. Do that. You can get somebody who is coming, to that country. If you're in UAE, there are always people coming from Accra, Ghana to UAE. You can send it by DHL. You will get it. Okay? So, but if you're pregnant and you don't have your baby in your country, you're going to have an American baby. The moment you arrive and you have a baby here, the baby is an American, you will get an American passport for the baby, but not you. The baby will be an American. You are not an American. You are a Ghanaian. You are a Liberian. You are whoever you are. Your nationality where you come with, and that one you go carry for 5 years. But the baby that you deliver in America will become an American. All right? So guys, I hope that you enjoyed this interview experience. Share it with your friends. Follow this page. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I love you guys. God be with you. And I'll see you on my next video. Guys, I'll keep posting here. Follow this page. Follow this page. Please share. All right? Don't make that mistake. When you answer your questions, make sure that you are adding context, especially something that is easy for somebody to misinterpret. Something that is easy for somebody to misunderstand. You need to explain. Don't wait for them to ask you to explain. If it's easy for somebody to misunderstand, add your own explanation before they even ask. All right? I love you guys. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. My name is Ekia Ofoy. Bye-bye, guys.